Hello Australia, welcome to another Big Couch. We have got a big show today, 7:38 to be exact, our second last show for the year. Let me tell you what's coming up on the show today. We're talking to Colin Ebsworth. He's from the WA Comedy Week coming up in November. We'll find out all the latest details on that one. Dr. Joe Costridge is coming in to talk to Nisha. And later on, Demelza Leonard talks music. We've got Paul Elwyn talking the latest movies going up to Christmas. Millennium Kids have got a wonderful, wonderful project we're going to be talking about today. And Bitchin is back with Nat Foster Warren from 6IX, Jen Merrigan from Have a Go News, and Chris Ilsley from wherever he wants to be from. It's a big couch. Hope you can stick around for the next hour all over Australia, only on Foxtel. The couch starts now.
It's showtime on the couch. It's showtime on the couch. You can see it from your house. You can see it from your house. It's showtime on the couch with Fred and the best in town. You can see it from your house. Yeah, it's showtime on the couch.
Hello Australia, welcome to another episode of The Couch. I hope you can stick around for the next hour. The grand final, well done to Geelong over the Sydney Swans. What a great game as well. Until next year, I guess. Our Dockers and Eagles will be trying hard in the pre-season to get there for next year as well. But today we're talking comedy first on The Couch. We've got Colin Ebsworth with us today talking about WA Comedy Week. Let me welcome him to The Couch. Hello, Colin.
Hi, mate. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice to have you here as well. And can I say, it really is nice to have a fantastic comedy event in November here in WA when everything else is usually shutting down about this time of the year.
Yes, it's almost like we planned it exactly for that beautiful little sweet spot gap.
Tell me what it's all about. What's WA Comedy Week got in store for it?
So me and a fellow comedy promoter realised that there was just this huge amount of talent coming out of WA, and we wanted to create a festival to showcase that, give a platform to all the biggest stars that have come out of WA and everyone who is doing amazing stuff locally. So we've got 25 plus shows spread across 4 venues from the week of November 7th to the 13th with massive names, all the local acts that are doing great stuff.
All right, well, tell me, where is it going to be? Where are they holding it?
So our festival hub is the Rechabite, 224 William Street, which we love. Incredible space, I'm sure you've been there. So we'll be using the rooftop, the main hall and the basement.
All three?
All three for a variety of events spread across galas, music, comedy, improv, stand-up, variety.
Is this the first time we've had the WA Comedy Week?
This is the first time, yeah, so it's our inaugural year.
And are you the organiser? Is this the first time you've been involved?
All the credit, but this is me as the program director. I work alongside Ronan Freeburn, who's done amazing work. Rottofest, Frio Royale, and he is serving as the festival director.
So tell me how hard it was to organise the 25 people performing,
it was
getting the venue and getting it organised.
Yeah, it was a lot, but the Rechabite came on board. We've done a lot of great work there. Ronan ran Crushers, which is the state's biggest comedy gala. I produced a variety of shows in the Fringe seasons there, and I think they really saw a lot of potential in the talent we were able to bring in, and we got them on board, and from then everyone just kind of started lining up.
How important is comedy at a time like this? We've come through COVID. You know, people are doing it tough with the cost of living, petrol prices, food, mortgages. How important is it for you to make people laugh and have a bit of fun?
Well, that's a great question, and I'd tell you this much. Throughout history, when people really are doing difficult times, it's the times when people most seek entertainment. I mean, we had Hollywood because of what happened in the 30s, and we have comedy now because of what's happening around the world, and I really think it's vital for everyone to get behind it. And what a lot of people don't realise is WA has an incredible comedy scene. I mean, the acts that we've got featured are Rove McManus, Janelle Koenig, Peter Rosethorn are some of our big ticket events, and it's really incredible the amount we can put out for such a small place.
We were talking about this before the show. Rove actually lives here in Perth now with his wife. And child,
yes.
And Peter Rosethorn is also a local. A lot of the actors locals, or you've got some people from over east
We've
as well?
sourced as many WA people. We wanted to be really a platform to represent the best of the best, but we also have some former Perth acts that got their start here, like Mike Goldstein from The 100 with Andy Lee, Beck Charwood, Anna Piper-Scott, and Andrew Portelli, who are all coming back just for this event.
What can we expect to see? How many nights, and what can we expect to see at the show?
So we have 7 nights starting on Monday, where the the 7th with industry Q&A, which will give people the opportunity to ask all the burning questions they wanted for some of the biggest names in comedy. That goes all the way through till Sunday the 13th. We've got roasts, we've got galas, we've got improv, variety night. There's such a huge range, and we wanted to showcase absolutely everything, so we packed as
Details
much
are on
in.
the screen right now for people who would like to get tickets, because we want them to buy their tickets nice and early, because as you can imagine, this is a big event. It runs for 7 nights, so the sooner people buy their tickets,
Absolutely.
the better it is to organise the event. We know how many people we're dealing with.
That's true.
Are you expecting big crowds? Because I think you're going to have a big crowd.
So
for this.
the main hall, the Rechabite, fills out with about 300, and right now a few shows are comfortably looking at that. So we're over the moon. We've had hundreds of pre-sales already. People really want to take advantage of those early bird discount tickets, and we have special seniors and companion tickets offered by Have a Go News.
No, look, fantastic. Another friend of ours here on the couch, Jen Merrigan, of course.
She's lovely.
Tell me about some of the people that you've got showcasing. Peter Rosethorn, you were telling me his daughter
Love
now
Peter
is a
Rosethorn.
stand-up as well.
Yeah, Frankie Rosethorn, although usually she just goes by Frankie because sometimes they do the adorable father-daughter,
Yeah.
same line
Do
of
they
thing.
work together?
They do,
Oh, wow, that
but
would be fun.
I think they're worried about maybe nepotism, which
As
so
you
she
would.
just goes by Frankie, but she is incredible. We also have our English act, David Hughes, who is an
I know.
established comedy writer, but has only just started doing stand-up, and he's amazing.
He's on a few TV commercials as well.
He has,
Isn't he
yeah.
from the old Rove program, from the original Rove?
Oh, no, I'm so sorry, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah.
There's two David Hughes. There's an
Okay.
English David Hughes, and then there's
There's the
Hughesy
guy
over
that used to
here.
play
I
the
know.
drums as well.
But don't get me wrong, Hughesy actually
both
also
great.
got his start at the Laugh Resort some 20-something years
Okay.
ago, and we would love to
We've
get him involved.
clarified that. So Peter Rosethorn, obviously he's going to do a fantastic show. Is his daughter going to appear on stage as well?
She will be. She's actually in both our Women of Comedy Gala, which will be happening on the Thursday, and she's in our Fresh Comedy Showcase, which will show all the best new acts like Blake Richardson, who's an amazing comic that just happens to be on Mystery Road on Stan,
Yep.
Brian Shields from the Grin Reapers podcast, all these really amazing acts.
And what about you, Colin? What are you going to do on stage?
Well,
I know
I
you're the program
also
director.
do a bit of stand-up for 12 years now. I actually produce a talk show called Ebsworth Tonight. That'll be on Saturday the 12th. We have some very special guests, including Matt Storer, a comic we absolutely love. Beck Child will be on, and some secret surprise guests.
Do you think we'll ever be able to sustain this sort of show on a weekly basis? Maybe a downsized version. It'd be awesome if you could keep it going weekly, like we have in Melbourne and Sydney.
Absolutely.
Why can't we do it here in Perth?
Fred, I could not agree with you more. That is the
Comedy
question we
Lounge.
ask ourselves consistently. But right now we've had some amazing wins. We've
Yep.
had a few million views on TikTok, which is great as
Fantastic.
of this year. But I think you can agree it is 3 times harder at least to get anything
look,
started
I
out of
know how
WA.
hard it is. It's a big job.
Yeah, but we've teamed up with Mago Productions, who are an incredible production house here in Australia. They produce hundreds of hours of Surfing the Menu and all these incredible programs. So we're pushing. We've had a couple of nice bites from some of the big companies, and we're very excited at the
All right,
prospect of more.
run us through again the event, the dates, where it's going to be, and what the tickets are worth.
November 7th to the 13th of this year is WA Comedy Week. Our festival hub is the Rechabite. You can also check out WA Comedy Showcase at the Fremantle Comedy Factory, at the Brisbane Hotel. We'll also be doing a couple of other venues around with some sneaky little spots.
Look, you sound so excited, and I think the event's going to be even more exciting.
Thank you.
How long is the actual show every night?
So every night, all the shows run for about an hour, except for our big event that we're very much looking forward to. The massive fringe hit Flynn V doing his show Freak Out will be the Rechabite from 10 p.m. till 2 a.m. I expect to see
wow.
you there for all 4 hours.
10 to 2, is that on a Friday or Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
I'll be working at 6 PR that night, but look, I'm happy to come and do my show live from there.
Mate, that would
You
be
never know.
amazing. All the best cabaret, burlesque, comedy spread out in a wild party to cap off the festival. And then Sunday, everyone can relax with a nice little Sunday roast battle.
Colin, give us the website on camera 2 where people can get more information.
You can get more information, see the full program of acts, all our sponsors and partners at www.wacomedyweek.com with early bird tickets ending October 3rd, 9 p.m.
Now, talking about tickets, I've been lucky enough to be given 2 double passes. They're right in front of me. They're real. Colin's given them to us to give away. All I need you to do, and this is how easy it is, by the way, we just want you to basically send an SMS to 0439 929 929. That's 0439 929 929. And all you need is your name and address on that. And the code word is comedy. That's how easy it is. Use the word comedy, name and address, send that to us, and the first lucky 2 people to send that through will win these fantastic tickets. And it's to the Comedy Week All Stars, and we'd love you to win. Thank you very much, Colin.
Thanks for having me. It was
Love
a pleasure.
to help you further if we can. Maybe do an interview on 6PR if you've got the time.
That would be great. We would absolutely love
Stay
that.
up late and we'll have a chat. I'll get in contact. All the best with the show. We love having you here in Perth. Thank you to all those fantastic comedians as well. And we want it to be a sellout, folks. So November's a great time. We'll all be relaxing. Our shows are all finished. We're winding down and we'd love to be involved. So thank you very much for being in and good luck.
Thank you.
Now, on the couch, it is time to also introduce Dr. Kostridge. Dr. Kostridge is with our very own Nisha Seth. They're ready on the couch. Over to you, Nisha.
Thank you, Fred, and it's always a pleasure to have Dr. Joe Kostridge back on the couch, our resident medical practitioner. Welcome.
Thanks, Nisha. Always nice to be with you.
It's really important to stay current with the research, and you're always bringing us new updates. What have you come across most recently?
Yeah, interesting work out of Europe. And the first thing to say with a lot of this work that comes out that it's observational, so we're never talking cause and effect.
Sure.
Which means a lot of these single studies, they sometimes make the headlines, need to be treated with the proverbial pinch of salt. What does count, though, is when studies confirm what has been shown previously and you get a growing bank of knowledge that says, well, we found this here, we found it at another place, we've done more research, and we keep finding this association. Because a lot of medical studies do find associations rather than cause and effect. But eventually you can say, well, this association is actually reasonably strong. So this work out of Europe looked at, I think it was about 400,000 or 500,000 women tracked over about a 14-year period and found, and I really want to emphasise, it's not a force field, it's not saying that it's absolutely black and white, nothing is in medicine, that those who were less sedentary and did more regular physical exercise had lower rates of breast cancer. And this is not new work. I remember reading sort of 15 years ago that ways to reduce your risk, and again I want to emphasise, it's not saying that if you do these things you can't get it, or if you do them, don't do them that you will, but reduce the likelihood, puts the odds a bit in your favour. We're doing some regular exercise, eating a sensible diet and not being excessively overweight, moderating alcohol consumption. And these are relatively simple things. And the unfortunate part is in that work that was done many years ago, they actually said, well, they didn't really want to, promote it too much because it might come across as blaming the victim. Well, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is saying, well, if you deny people the opportunity to make changes, then you're actually disempowering them by saying to them, this can help you. We're not saying that if you do it, you're going to live forever, but we are saying that these steps that you can take that are completely within your control may influence your outcome, and therefore, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess giving people the opportunity to have that education and awareness is ultimately beneficial, I would think.
Yeah. And especially with exercise, now we are coming into springtime. It's a really good time to get out and about. Often when it's raining in winter, we've had another fairly wet winter. People sort of not as keen to get outside, and I get it. You got to try and pick the gap between the showers. Not that water's going to kill us, but it's not that pleasant. I get it. But regular exercise not only good for your physical health but for your mental health, and we know that there were lower rates of anxiety and depression in people who do regular physical activity. And it's also that when you are outside and doing some exercise, it also means you're not spending time perhaps on your screen, maybe gaming, maybe on Facebook, maybe watching a show that, not the couch obviously, Fred, but not watching a show that maybe
definitely have to watch
you think, well, why am I really watching this? It just happens to be on, so I'll watch it. So it's also that displacement effect. It's a little bit like when people are drinking. They sometimes do studies and find that if you drink tea, it's good for you, and it may well be. There are some benefits, but it also probably means if you're drinking tea in the morning, you might not be drinking soft drink. You might not be having as much fruit juice, which is also unfortunately quite high in sugar, and you may not be having choc milk. So it's also what happens when you replace A with B. Long and short of all of that, Nisha, is it's always a good time of year to be doing some regular activity, some physical exercise, whatever you enjoy doing. If you haven't done it for a while, start at a low level and build it up because you don't want to injure yourself. But never a better time than in the spring.
Beautiful. And I think you can set a bit of an action plan. What I like there that you've said is it's about a lifestyle. So actually, integrated health. Yes, we're looking at exercise, but part of that is also, your nutrition that you've talked about on many of our shows, you know, as well as mental health, that psychosomatic, that body, mind, soul connection as well. So I guess would you encourage people now, maybe because it's spring, it's the time of growth, to look at all of those things in a more integrated fashion?
Look, essentially what you're saying, can you do a bit of a spring clean of your health niche?
Hey, that's a great tagline for an article. You sure you're not a journalist?
Look, I suppose the answer to that is yes. You can have a look in your wardrobe and throw out what you don't want or need. You can have a look in the garage and get rid of junk. You can really do a bit of an inventory of, you know, how am I going with my health? You know, what's going well, what could be done better. And it's always, people sort of think, oh, you know, there's nothing I can do. And I think, unfortunately, some of the messaging is also a little bit disempowering. So, well, yeah, you can change what you put in your supermarket trolley.
Yes.
And this argument that it's
choice.
very expensive to eat healthily, the cheapest foods are generally fruits and vegetables in season. And you can substitute water for a lot of other beverages. You can do some activity. You can go to bed maybe half an hour early. You can switch off your device and spend less time on it. These are all changes that are fairly simple and are all within our control. We don't need anybody else to do it for us.
Yeah, so setting a baseline, congratulating yourself perhaps on the things you reach. But, you know, another thing that one of my clients said to me once too is they like to think about what obstacles may be in their way, and if they're able to think about what might happen, so our default setting, why don't we get up and exercise, then, you know, you can sometimes jump back over that when you get there.
Look, we are all creatures of habit and we can slip back into our old habits. And that's the other really critical component, that each day is a new day. So say you've, you know, in inverted commas, fallen off the wagon yesterday. Well, that's not an excuse to fall off the wagon today. You can say, well, that was yesterday. Today, I'm going to get myself back on track. So again, it all comes back to the individual making the choices and taking the responsibility for those choices.
You're so reasonable and encouraging. What have you got coming up next? I know that you're going on a nice holiday soon, Dr. Joe.
Yeah, we've got a trip planned coming up. Our son, he's playing a game called floorball, which is like a type of indoor hockey. It's
exercise, walk the talk in the family.
He's in pretty good. I go to the gym and I do a bit of running, but he's in. Look, if you've got to play for Australia, you've got to be in pretty good shape.
Yes.
So that's been a great opportunity for him, and obviously Mum and Dad are pretty proud. So we'll go over and cheer and have a bit of a holiday at the same time.
Oh, that's lovely. We'll have a wonderful time, safe travels, and we'll look forward to having you back on the couch probably in the new year then.
Thanks, Nisha.
If you've missed any of that, of course, you can go to thecouch.com.au. But before I do that, Dr. Joe, you probably have your own website too, so I didn't chance to say that.
Yeah, people can go to drjoetoday.com and sign up for the newsletter and read my thoughts of the current time.
Wonderful. We'll be staying track of that too, especially while you're on holidays. You'll probably have some new insights going in there from Switzerland and so forth. So if you missed any of that, as I said, thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page. But for now, it's back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Nisha. Thank you to Dr. Joe for being with us all year. I'm sure we'll catch him on the 9 News as well here in Perth, and in 6PR as a regular guest as well. And I do love his website, drjoetodayshow.com. I reckon that dream of yours, say he's a journalist. You never know. Open new doors for Dr. Joe, national host. We'll take a break. Coming up after the break, we've got Demelza and Paul, once talking music, once talking movies. You try and guess who. We'll do that next on The Couch. Welcome back to The Couch. Always nice to have your company all around Australia, only on Foxtel. Time now to talk movies and also music. Let me introduce them. Demelza on the right and Paul Elwin on the left. Demelza Leonard, that is. Looking pretty in pink. We'll talk more about your outfit today. Thank you for being with us today on our last show for you guys for the year.
Yes.
Let's talk music first, Dem.
Sure.
Tell me first, where is that outfit from? Because you know what, you're going to have males and females all around Australia wanting to know.
This lovely little Barbie pink denim number is from Forever New.
Forever New?
Forever New.
Oh, Forever
yes.
New.
Forever New.
Can I ask, is it expensive or is it cost effective?
It's cost effective.
So it won't ruin your cost of living?
Hopefully my husband's not watching this episode, so it's cost effective.
It's on the credit card. Well done. It looks lovely as well. Beautiful colour. Now, music-wise, John Farnham, what's happened?
Yeah, so the family of John Farnham has provided an update. We found out a few weeks ago that he has been battling cancer. The new update says that the family are very pleased with the progress that he has made, as well as the doctors and the specialists. It went on to say that he has been removed from ICU and is now in the general hospital wards. The family have also thanked not just the staff, the doctors and everyone involved, but also the fans.
It was a long
for the
surgery, I think 12
outpouring.
hours or something.
Yeah, the outpouring of support for what they're all going through as well. Even the music industry that have gotten behind John as
Look,
well.
he's a legend. He's very much loved in Australia. He's been very successful. He's in his late 60s, maybe early 70s.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, it's never a good time to get cancer, but at least he's had a very good life. And I'm glad he's had the treatment. He has had some of his mouth removed.
Yes.
So he's going to be needing occupational therapy and retraining and all that. I heard someone a couple of days ago say, he'll be at the grand final singing next year. Let's hope so, but I don't think... I think I'd keep Robbie Williams on standby.
Yes,
So, look,
He did a
well
great
done
job.
to John Farnham. Let's wish you a speedy recovery as well.
Very much
Now,
so.
talking about Robbie Williams, he's doing an
Yes.
Australian tour.
He is on the back of an amazing AFL
Did you all
grand
see him on
final.
the grand final? Paul, did you catch him?
I did. He did a great job for what he had to work
I
with.
love the
so-
tributes he gave to the
Yes.
to like John Farnham, etc.
I think, and this is a bit of my marketing mind coming out here, he read the crowd and the room incredibly well to understand what the audience would
Yep.
have loved.
And he performed beautifully with Delta Goodrum as well.
Yes,
I think.
yeah. Someone else who was in pink, so
Yes,
they were all
both of
in
them
pink,
were in
weren't they? It's the colour. Now, he has announced a 25th anniversary tour since he went solo. So since he was the bad boy of Take That and he left and he started his solo career, it's been 25 years since that debut album. So he will be touring Australia later on early next year, I believe. And WA will get it as part of the Day of the Green. Everyone else will get it as part of a stadium tour. Check
Fantastic.
Frontier Touring for details.
Now, I heard a rumour yesterday, one of my callers on 6PR said to me that the only thing she didn't like about Robbie Williams, we were talking about the grand final performance, she said, I didn't like it that he took a photo, someone took a photo of him naked. Now, I haven't been able to see it online or look for it, but did you hear about that at all? Was this something true that happened? It was a selfie.
I mean, look, it's Robbie Williams, so he's definitely I wouldn't surprise me, but I haven't actually come across that one. I know Tommy Lee did it a couple of weeks ago, and there was a bit of Instagram backlash. But I haven't heard anything recently of Robbie
keep one
Williams.
eye out
I
for
will
it.
let you know if I do.
What's happening with Mariah Carey?
So I actually spoke about this a couple of years ago when she released her book, that there was a secret alt rock album that she had recorded in the 90s. She did confirm that in the memoir of Mariah Carey. The album was released under the name Someone's Ugly Daughter by Chick, and the record labels vetoed it because this was around the time that she was Music Box, Dream Lover, Always Be My Baby. She was on that high, and they culled it, and they were like, absolutely not, we are burying this.
Okay.
So she announced that that's what happened. The girl in Chick that was meant to be Chick was one of her best friends and was pretending to be the artist in it, and then the recordings went missing. She has found, they have uncovered these secret hidden recordings.
Wow.
And after 27 years of recording that album, it looks like she's going to be releasing it.
Do you reckon she's going to release the original that she
She's
recorded?
going to. She
Oh,
has
wow.
said she is going to be releasing those recordings. When, how, what? We're going to hear a whole new side
It
to
always
Mariah.
amazes me how many artists have passed away. I think George Michael did it, Michael Jackson did it. As soon as they died, there was stories about secret albums that weren't released. I think it's great that they do these albums because it does allow fans to keep enjoying their music.
But I think
you know.
also a lot of the times they're creative artists, and they're stifled by the record execs and the record labels because they don't think it's the best thing. And back in that time, I mean, now with TikTok and things like that, there's a whole different array with music these days, but it's totally changed.
Well, I can't wait. I know in about a month or two we'll see her singing All I Want for Christmas.
I'm pretty sure it's already started in some
I believe
stores.
you're right. You're very right. Let's have a look at the top 3 for this week, please.
There are
Vanessa.
new top 3 songs
About
finally coming in at number 3 from the movie Top Gun
Ooh, I like
Maverick.
this one.
I Ain't Worried, One Republic.
I don't mind this one.
This one's a good one. Number 2, Super Freaky Girl, Nicki Minaj.
Yes, you can see her Minaj.
And thanks to TikTok, David Guetta and BB Rexa take out the number 1 spot with I'm Good Blue.
See,
I love this
it's
track.
a remake of the original, isn't it? It's like an Elton John remix.
It samples Eiffel 65's Blue.
That's it.
But this was a little project that they did 4 years ago, and someone found the recording and started making TikTok videos.
Yep.
So they've re-released it, and within weeks it's gone to number 1.
It's funny, last night I had a caller on 6PR and she wanted to hear what's the Elton John song, No Sacrifice, that's been redone by
the one with Dua
Lipa.
Lipa? Yeah,
So I played the original thinking, oh, of course this lady doesn't want to hear the new version. And she messaged me and said, no, I wanted to hear the Dua Lipa, the modern one. It's called Cold Heart. And I thought,
Cold Heart, yeah.
wow. So, and I believe look out for something new. He's going to be doing some more of those mixed songs.
Yes, yeah,
So-
he's definitely embracing the younger audience, and wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of album coming November in
in the
time for
works.
Christmas.
Well done. Thank you, Demelza, for all your work throughout the
Thank
year,
you.
through COVID and everything else. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ted.
Time now to talk to Paul. We'll
Yes.
talk movies.
Yeah, we've got
Now,
movies. Oh, there's a
Paul,
whole
you've
bunch
got
coming
a
out now.
whole heap of them. I've got them here.
Yeah, this is all October, November coming out. Yeah, it's a good mixed bag. The first one we got is Bros. Bill Eichner wrote this and he stars in this. If you
Yep.
don't know who he is, look up Funny or Die Billy on the Street. He does these awesome Vox Pops with everyone. It's hilarious. So this one is Bill Eichner. He's come out years ago. So he wrote this. Also, we've got Judd Apatow behind this and everything. So this is a rom-com, but this is a gay rom-com. Difference is Bill Eichner wrote this, and he's really good.
Yeah, I watched the trailer.
The
It's very
trailer, it's a
funny.
good blend of funny, serious, and it's all about relationships. And can these two guys actually be in a good relationship, or are they just too busy
Yep.
to actually hang out with each other or not? It's really good. It's got a lot of cool jokes and quips and everything in this. This is quite cool. Like, it's a good rom-com, but also, like, yeah, it's well written. Like, Bill did a great job on this one, I reckon. So it's out on 17th of October, and this is Bros. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. The next one, we've got a sort of more serious
Armageddon.
ones, Armageddon Time. This one's based on a book. November 3, this comes out. This one's a serious one. It got a 7-minute standing ovation at the recent Cannes Film Festival. This is a serious one. Essentially, it's during the 80s, a Jewish family, and the son, he's good friends with an African-American kid, but obviously the family kind of doesn't really understand too much the fact that, you know, his grandpa knows because he was, you know, a former sort of a survivor from Auschwitz. And essentially, the whole thing is his family sort of treating his friendship with an African-American kid as, you know, a bit of a conflict there. So it's kind of about
Bit of a
how they
racial
treat,
war.
yeah, sort of racial politics thing, but also like how they approach generations trying to sort of, you know, do better and be, you know, do better and sort of how they live and their life, that sort of thing. But very serious. Anthony Hopkins is in this. Anne Hathaway's
fantastic.
in this. Amazing. Anthony Hopkins.
He's a legend,
so
isn't he?
good.
He's a very
He
good
is.
actor.
Yeah, he's playing a Jewish grandpa, but his accent, everything in this is really good.
He
So
does,
this is
he does
Armageddon
resemble Hannibal Lecter in everything he does.
time. He does, but like the way he acts.
Yeah, no, he's an
phenomenal.
amazing
great.
actor.
Yeah, he's
I
really
agree.
good.
She
She
said.
Said. Okay, so we got some more serious stuff happening there. 17th of November is She Said. This one is the whole #MeToo movement. How did this start? This was 2 New York Times reporters investigating what is happening in Hollywood at the time. Yeah, pretty huge.
It's based
Carey
on a true
Mulligan's in this.
story, is it not?
Pretty much based
Yeah.
on a true story about how the whole movement
Weinstein
came
as
about.
well.
Weinstein, a lot of other you know,
Yes,
film
yeah.
studios, that sort of thing. So this shows you how they uncovered all of that. Very serious. Andre Browder from Brooklyn Nine-Nine's in this, but also Carey Mulligan, who from Drive and Great Gatsby is in this, and she does a phenomenal job in this. So yeah, this one is She Said, all about the hashtag Me Too movement, how it started.
I'm pretty sure that will go down very well. 17th
drama,
of November,
yes.
that comes out. This one here, the next one, is the one I like the
The
best.
menu for all of you foodies that eat everything. This one looks cool. One of my favourite villains, the one who shall not be named, Voldemort, Ralph Fiennes, is Chef Slovik in this one, and he plays a highly acclaimed chef. We've got Anna Taylor-Joy from The Queen's Gambit, and her boyfriend, played by Nicholas Hoult, who was in The Great and X-Men, playing Beast. They're both going, well, you got to check out this restaurant. It's very exclusive. It's on an island, and it's an amazing menu that you've never heard of, and you'll find out all about this, and it's all very enigmatic and mysterious. But then all of a sudden, things start to unravel. Various guests
Like
that
a
are
murder
there.
mystery.
It's a murder mystery. It's a strange thing because it's the whole. They go like, "Oh, the food is amazing. What's it from?" And he's like, "Oh, probably best I don't tell you what the ingredients are," kind of thing. And everyone's, "Ooh, it's scary."
Okay, it's one of those.
Yeah, but Ralph Fiennes in this, he's amazing as the chef. But the food looks phenomenal, but you don't want to know where it's from, probably.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks cool. It's called The Menu. And
24th
that's out 24th November. Yeah,
now,
very
this one
scary.
here, I've never been a big fan of the original Avatar, but I noticed so many people love it.
Yeah, I remember watching it. This is 13 years ago. So we've got Avatar 2, The Way of Water. This is part of roughly about 3 or 4 movies that James Cameron is putting together. This was 13 years ago that everybody, pretty much everybody, because it made like $1 billion easily, went to check out this new bunch of aliens, the Na'vi, on this wonderful planet that some people wanted to really go to in real life, called Pandora. We've got our usual people in this. Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana reprise their roles in this, but we also have Kate Winslet in this, Michelle Yeoh in this, the almighty Sigourney
Great
Weaver is in
cast.
this, the sci-fi queen herself. Jermaine Clement from Fly the Conchords is in this as well. And this is, we revisit, because the planet of Pandora is huge. So this is like the water section of Pandora, and we have adventures on this part of it as well. And essentially, James Cameron doing this second movie, the third movie, back-to-back, roughly 4 or 5 movies being put together. Collectively, the amount of money put into this is roughly $1 billion. So this is huge. This will make a huge amount of money. People will definitely watch this.
No, it looks. I know it's amazing when you look at the CGI. Now, before we do the top 5s, Demelza, which one of those took your fancy? Any of those movies?
I actually think that She Said. I'm
You
really
like that one?
interested.
So you're not an Avatar person?
I'm like you. I watched it,
Blue
but I
people, there's
wasn't
only so much you can take.
a huge fan of it.
Yeah,
So-
fair enough. And I don't know if kids love Avatar. Is it something that kids?
Because
okay.
like the films weren't, they were a little bit violent, but in a sort of PG
Only a
sense. But
little
the
bit.
kids will.
There's actually a ride now at Disney that is the Avatar
The
ride
Avatar,
as
of
well.
course.
So
Of course. And just while you're talking about worlds, amusement parks, they're talking about opening up Disneyland in South Australia. Do you think it's a good
Yeah.
move?
Oh.
I would love a Disney in Australia.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
it'd be
don't know
wonderful.
how
Money.
it would work,
it'll be
but
huge.
yeah,
Well,
it would
let's
be
hope-
amazing. I'm as a massive Disney fan,
Yeah.
I would love it.
Well, I tell you what, if not in South Australia, build it here in Perth. We'd love it. Top 5 movies
Oh, yes.
for the end of the year. Let's have a
Top
look at
5
how they
now.
stand at the moment.
Yes, of course.
And
Top 5
let's go
movies.
with number 5.
Oh, wow. 5, Orphan, First Kill. Ooh, scary. 4, Bullet Train, Brad Pitt. Awesome action film. Oh, 3, DC, League of Super Pets. That's a great one for your kids. I love that. 2, After Ever Happy. Oh, that's a naughty, sexy kind of movie. Number 1, Brahmaster, Part 1, Shiva.
There you go.
That's huge.
And that's the way it is for this year, 2022. Thank you to Demelza. Thank you to Paul.
Thanks, Fred.
I'm sure we'll hear you on 6PR over the break. But thank you for being part of the show this year. And we'll look forward to having you back next year. We'll all be older next year, but wiser. Thank you very much to you at home as well for watching the whole year. I'll keep saying thank you until the last episode. We're going to take a break. More coming up of The Couch right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the couch. Millennium Kids do an amazing job when it comes to the environment, climate change, etc., etc. It's such a fantastic organisation run by the lady we're going to introduce very soon, Kat. And she's got Sidhu with her today talking about a great project that they're running, and it's going to be a very inclusive project. And let's include our own person, Nisha Seth.
Thank you so much, Fred. It's always such a delight to have young, empowered leaders on the couch, and Millennium Kids has joined us a few times now, and we're here to have an exciting conversation about a new project. But before we do that, for our audience members that have not heard of Millennium Kids, I don't know how you could not, because climate action is so important. Kat, thank you for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about Millennium Kids?
Yeah, Millennium Kids has been running for nearly 28 years with young people pitching ideas around the big issues and then making change. And so our role is to listen to young people and then help them action their projects.
Wonderful. And over the decades, you're an educator by profession, so you've really been along the continuum, right, of how education has changed. What do you think the most important thing that Millennium Kids provides now that perhaps has been missing or not as enhanced as it could have been in the system?
I think it's really interesting to see how education has evolved, because in the early days of education, it was about teachers educating young people about the big issues. So you did waste projects and you did Clean Up Australia Day and you did projects where you taught young people what the facts were around a particular issue. And now it's much more about youth identifying the issues that concern them and then doing research with mentors who support them actually undertake a project. So it's a little nuanced in the whole youth voice process to empower young people to have a say and then support them with change making.
You've articulated that so well. Thanks so much, Kat. And we'll cross over to Sidhu in a moment. But Sidhu, you're an amazing gentleman. I'm so excited to get to you. Kat, introduce Sidhu, because you've been a part of the whole process of his project starting up.
Yep. So I met Sidhu about 6 months ago. The City of Canning funded a project called Changing Your World Youth Challenge, and young people in the City of Canning were invited to come along and learn about the process and then pitch ideas. And through that, I met Sidhu, who was actually already involved with the City of Canning, helping them frame their youth engagement framework. So Sidhu, tell us a little bit about that youth engagement framework and what you thought was really important.
So last year we had a youth engagement forum at the Riverton Library where lots of youth came along to talk about ideas which they could involve in the framework. One of the main ideas there was having a youth council at the City of Canning so that they also get a decision in all of the major decisions made.
So important. Brilliant.
And there I met Kat, where I pitched an idea about language. So I was concerned about how lots of people in the City of Canning had English as a second language, not first. And I made it so that lots of information, specifically climate change, important ones, translated into different languages and spread out in the form of postcards. That way, lots of more people will understand the issues faced by the world now.
I love the inclusion element of that, and Kat was saying earlier how brilliant and blown away they were by your idea, and that I think it's going to catapult. I know Fred's got a few connections to introduce you to. But importantly, what does this mean to you? Because you're 12, okay, and you're looking at the future. Why is climate action so important?
Because the youth are the one that are going to live in the future, so they should understand a lot more. And I'm also one who understands my mother tongue more than English, so I would like it if information was available in my mother tongue so my parents could read it and then they could teach me, importantly. And it's also needed so that older generations understand and they could educate youngers in their own languages, so it'll be better.
Phenomenal, Sidhu. Honestly, I think that you're so in purpose at such a young age. It gives us hope. It's beautiful. And climate action is a huge topic. I know that Millennium Kids certainly feed into lots of projects around the world and linked in with the UN, as you know, I'm involved in too. So talk to us about, I guess, the next step of this project, perhaps, Kat.
Well, I think the thing that really excites me is, I've been in Millennium Kids for 28 years. I'm not leaving because of young people like Sidhu. I mean, we were blown away when he pitched this idea that the city of Canning had, large sections of the population that had English as a second language, and that maybe, we should translate climate information. So I remember when he said it, there were sustainability managers and officers and CEOs in the room, and they were all like, wow, why hadn't we thought of that? And I think that's the really exciting thing, that if you leave the space open for young people to discuss and pitch ideas, then ideas like this filter through. There were lots of ideas. We're supporting them all, but this particular idea was given a $5,000 grant, and Sidhu is going to be mentored by our communication team down in Fremantle. It's a little company down there. He's going to take his 10 ideas down to them and look at ways of creating posters and postcards. So he's going to go right through the process from putting together the 10 major ideas. We've already had a look at the snapshot of the CO2 production in the city of Canning. And do you want to tell us what the top 10 CO2 outputs are?
So the most important ones were electricity, gas, transport, and waste, CO2 emissions. There are a few ways we can reduce our carbon footprint. I've got 10 here. So most importantly, we have to get educated about climate change and how we can reduce CO2 footprint. Take public transport or ride around and leave your car at home, so it'll be better for the environment. Eat locally grown organic foods, like visiting a local market, farmers market, to get all your things you need. Reduce energy bills so you can save money, and turning off unused lights and appliances. You can join the City of Canning in planting more trees and plants. You can reduce use of plastic, which is now happening around the world. Save water, limit eating meat and dairy products, and communicate with decision makers. This is really important, as once you're over 18, you can have a vote in decisions, and that's one of the main things you have to do.
Beautiful. I think it's so important we have our youth on boards. You're doing a great job, and obviously got some great mentors. I wish we could talk to you for a lot longer, but we're having to wrap up. Can you just maybe let us know 2 things that you do yourself at home to help, and we can maybe learn from that? So I use LED lights. This is a better way, as they use less energy, and another way is solar panels, using solar energy to power all your appliances at home. Beautiful. Sidhu, it's been an absolute pleasure. And by the way, he does have a very long list here. So impressed. And Fred and I will go through it a little bit later on and maybe share some of those. Kat, thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you.
We're looking forward to having Millennium Kids back on the show in 2023 as well. But keep up the good work. We'll definitely keep following you. Just so impressed with you, Sidhu. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where can we go to find out more about Millennium Kids?
You can go to www.millenniumkids.com.au.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Kat. Thanks, Sidhu. And of course, if you missed any of that, you can go to thecouch.com.au or our Facebook page as well. Thanks, Fred.
Well done. Thank you to Kat and thank you to Sidhu. Kat, do you think we'll ever move Millennium Kids into a national field for the whole of Australia, make it a national organisation?
Oh, it's really interesting. We've just been invited to Tunisia. We just met with UN Habitat. We've got Malaysia on LinkedIn saying, how do we get this program in Malaysia? We built a school in Indonesia during the pandemic. So we're doing it, but maybe not in the East Coast.
Sidhu, you're very scary, because I reckon you're going to be someone to look forward to in the years to come as a political leader, community leader. Well done. Keep up the great work, and keep your focus on the climate and improving our lives. Well done. And thank you to Millennium Kids for being part of the Couch this year. We'll have you back next year with lots of new projects.
Beautiful.
We're going to talk news next with our panel. Stick around. You're watching The Couch, only on Foxtel. See you then.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the couch. It's always nice to talk charity. We've got that lady that knows everything about charity, Joanne Kileli back. Welcome back.
Thank you, Fred.
Now, we've also got a couple of special guests. We've got Ollie and we've also got Adam Prezula. Now, Adam's from Armed for Life. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Ollie, welcome back. How's everything been going for you since we last saw you?
Pretty good, yeah.
Are you enjoying your new computer, your gaming computer?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it is good?
Yeah.
And no problems with it? Hasn't broken down?
Not yet.
And what was the company's name that helped you out with that? Do you remember? Joanne.
not really
Alex Gold, Lucas Rowan.
Ah, see, that's a question. I'm going to write it down. Stumped him on that one. Joanne, tell me why Ollie is here and also why we've got Adam in today.
Yes, well, I approached two charities, Di Wilcox from Magic Coat and also Tony Hume, the CEO of Rider Club Australia. And I said I would really love to help a very deserving boy and a very deserving girl. And as you know, last week we looked at, I had a story about a little girl, a hot air balloon. And Lucas Rowan, who helped me last year with a little boy called Charlie to give him a gaming system. And he said, Joe, I have another one. Let's find someone deserving. So out of all the people around Perth, this very special boy, Ollie, came to me. So I knew within 24 hours for them to tell me out of all these kids that you are deserving, because I want to make sure I give it to the right kid. But when I met you, I thought, you know what? I don't want to just give you a gaming system. I just didn't want to see you going down the rabbit hole. I wanted to also give you an uplifting experience, not the hot air balloon, but something else. So I thought, who would be the equivalent of a hot air balloon? And I thought...
Adam
okay,
Prezula.
completely wrong.
Haven't been compared to a hot air balloon before.
Uplifting person, Adam.
Adam, tell me a little bit about, before we talk further about
Sure.
what you're going to be doing for Ollie,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your organisation. You're the CEO of Armed for Life.
Yes.
For those people who don't know what you're into, what you do, tell us.
So we've been running for about 11 and a half years, all kind of centred around, there's about 30 different presentations that we run, about 10 different programs around resilience, building resilience, increasing well-being, talking around mental health and self-esteem. And yeah, I think over the course of the last 11 and a half years, we've spoken over about 500 schools and just over 1 million students.
Would I be right in understanding that we talk about this all the time on radio when we talk about mental health issues. Only yesterday, statistics came out that in the last 10 years, doctors have written double the prescriptions for ADHD drugs.
Yep.
So we've got some issues out in the community, and you must be flat out.
Yeah. So we've had a couple of explosion points. We're in anywhere between 5 to 10 schools a week, and so I obviously just started as me, and now we have 18 different team members.
How did you start? What's your background?
Well, it all came from my experience in school. So I was champion boy, year 1, 2, 3, and 4 was the fastest kid around.
Life's going well for you.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yep.
And then I ended up with eczema so bad that I was given cortisone tablets or injections. Mum and Dad tell me different stories. So I doubled in size. I went from being the fast kid to being the chunky kid. So the bullying started.
Correct.
Did PIAC in year 5 and 6. So I was a smart kid, but bullying started to kind of increase in year 7. And basically year 8 to year 12, I was bullied every single day of my high school life. And parents divorced in year 8 as well. And so the anxiety and depression I experienced was extreme.
Yep.
I almost failed year 12. I just shut down emotionally and mentally. And got out of school and joined a team going into schools, became the coordinator 2 years in, and that's when I started speaking. That was 24 years ago.
Now, you said you started the organisation how many years ago?
So that team, I was the coordinator for 6 years, pulled away to get my teaching degree, finished my degree while I was a chaplain in a school and saw students walking around my own school that reminded me of me. So that's when I decided I wasn't going to teach.
Armed for Life,
11 and a half
you started
years.
it on your own.
Yeah.
And now how many people work with you?
So 18 team members overall.
Wow. Well done.
We've been all around WA. I got to speak in Cape Town, South Africa in 2020, which is awesome.
What a great achievement. And when you look back at the kid that you were, being bullied, harassed, intimidated, all the things that you know that are bad, can really ruin your life. Because you grow as a teenager, if you start having that in your life, it stays with you.
Absolutely.
And then you know yourself as an adult, you're going to be affected by that forever. So how did you get out of all that? How did you change your way of life?
I really struggled, and I struggled all the way up until about 18, and there wasn't a magic wand or anything. There was a change in direction. Everyone that does something similar to what I do has a has one of those turning points.
Yep.
For me, it was just becoming a Christian and realizing that I had value and I was worth something. And there was a kind of a shift from there, and things began to continue to change. I actually saw a counsellor for the first time when I was 24, and I didn't realise that I needed help, and no one was there to give it. And so that's kind of where that initial turning point at 18, the seed was planted. You needed to help the entire 5 years of high school. No one was there to give it. You need to be that guy.
It's like a Are You OK Day. Look, I think it's a great organisation, great day, but we need to be doing that Are You OK every day.
100%.
And look, you've got a great book. I just wanted to touch on that book, The Road to Resilience. Tell me about this book. Where can we get it and what's it about?
Well, it's everywhere. So we launched our charity status last year, and it was meant to be a book and charity launch. And 7 days before we went to print, someone said, send the manuscript to Wiley Publishing, and so we did. Within 2 days, I said we want it. So February this year we launched. So it's everywhere. It's on Amazon, Dymix. It's on Booktopia. It's everywhere.
So tell me about Arm for Life. If I was going to be involved, like Ollie, what are we hoping Ollie gets out of it? What will he be doing? Because he's going to actually come to you on your camp.
He is. So the next camp we have coming up is our summer camp. So we have a Resilience and Mental Health camp in July, where there's paintballing and archery tag, and it's in the coldest place in WA though. But the summer camp is a beach summer camp. So it's basically the opposite. We're at the beach a couple of times a day. We have some great activities in the afternoon. We have a soap soccer game one afternoon. We have something called a negative auction, which I don't have time to go into, but you basically eat terrible food and you have to eat it quicker than everybody else. There's all these great activities and fun things that we do.
So you try and keep it fun and motivational as well.
Yeah.
And at the same time, are you helping the kids with the problem, or are you keeping the problem in the background so it's not directly in your face? You're dealing with it, but you're dealing with it in a very delicate way.
Yep. So out of the 30 presentations that we do in schools, on the camps, the morning and the night time, there is a presentation. So, and I've literally had teachers say, I've been here for 25 years, that's the best thing I've ever seen, in relation to resilience or bullying in particular. So depending on the camp, the topics that we talk about change. And then everything's run in teams. So then they break off and have a bit of team time, they discuss the themes that we're discussing in teams. I've literally, every single camp that we finish, I have parents emailing me afterwards saying, I've got my son back, I've got my daughter back, thank you so much.
Well done. Ollie, are you excited? It sounds like, do you like paintballing?
Yeah.
Do you like eating really weird food?
Sometimes.
Pizza, maybe? Something good. Are you going to have fun with this camp? Do you know when you're going to be doing it? Do we know yet?
It's in January, the 9th to the 12th of January next year.
School holidays.
Yeah.
How perfect. You were looking for something to do. Can he bring his computer with him, or does that stay out? Most kids have to take the
Look,
computer.
phones are allowed. We do have a challenge on camp, but people get to choose where they put their phone away. It creates points for their team. So we have about 80-90% of people put their phones away. You'd be
surprised how many people, all of us, if we leave the phone at home, we can't live without it, we go back, even if it's a 1 hour drive.
Yeah, it's great.
And kids are just as bad, just like us adults. So it'll be nice to see kids without the technology and living in the old-fashioned way, dealing with face-to-face contact with kids. Are you excited?
Yeah.
And anything you're looking forward to? Is there something big you're looking forward to? Have you been told about the camp?
Not too much, but it sounds all pretty good.
Yep, you're going to look forward to it. Was there anything else you wanted to say today, Adam, about the camp and about what you're doing for Ollie?
Yeah, I think the need is great. Like over the course of the last, we've been doing what we do for so long. We end up in 5 to 10 schools a week, and more we've had parents email say, how do I get access to these presentations? So the hope is that now that we're about, 10, 15 days away from finding out if our charity has actually been approved by the ACNC, which means we can get funding to start doing what we're doing for parents outside of schools, because we're busy enough with the stuff in schools. These camps, we're literally next year, the Resilience and Mental Health camp, we have to split into 2 because we have too many actually applying to be on the camp. So we just want to keep doing the work that we're doing. It's important to get the help. If you're struggling,
I think it's a wonderful idea.
to not shut down and think that I just have to sweep it under the rug and bottle things up and suppress.
And that's the problem. We do that.
100%,
we do that a lot.
Yeah, you have to express, not suppress.
What's the website if people do want to book into one of your camps or want more information?
Sure. www.armedforlife.com.au, and you can find us through most of the socials, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
Well done. And look, we love promoting people like yourself. You're doing a great job helping kids out in the community, helping adults as well. Look, if the kids are well, the adults are usually well as well. Joanne, was there anything else you wanted to add in? I know you want to thank a few people.
I do. I just want to thank Bernadette Bozanak for recording our interaction when you first found out all the prizes, and also over last week with the lovely Brady, and Rain the Label for my lovely outfit, and Chris Hazard for his photography as well. But, you know, I really want to make sure too that there's a really strong message here. So what Adam likes to do and why we're aligned so much is our one thing is we really want to make a difference. And sometimes it can just be one small kind gesture. The girl that was here last week, the parents called me up and they loved meeting you. She loved meeting you, Fred. And
She's only human. She was armed for life.
And they said, we feel like we're seeing this beautiful spark.
I guess we're passionate about what we're doing.
Yes.
It's not, we don't get paid.
Yes.
It's not about money. We don't issue an invoice and then smile.
It's seeing the smile and
we're
knowing,
passionate.
you know, and like what you said, Fred, is the impact that just a little bit of just trying, and I'm hoping someone here listening is inspired by this because it's about paying it forward. It's about, okay, well, what can I do to help someone else? And it doesn't have to be a massive gesture like a hot air balloon and all that kind of stuff. Just something little to make someone feel good about themselves.
Joanne, we want this to continue into next year. I'm sure it will.
Yes.
But look at camera 2 and give us your website if people want to get in touch with you.
Yes. www.joannecollaley.com.au.
Have we got anything on the agenda for next year?
And will let us say?
Yeah. Just quickly, you got 30 seconds.
Okay. It looks like I'll be going to Vegas for an award. I'll be doing Crom Castle. I'll be painting the Duchess of York. I've got an exhibition in Poland, and I have 4 motivational books coming out.
Well done.
The first one's next month as a collaboration with 11 other people around the world, and I'm also in two docos. But yeah, we'll talk about that next year.
I'm sure we'll talk about it next year. Thank you, Adam, for all the work that you've done. Thank you to Ollie for taking part and showing kids that there is a way out of problems that we have, and we can make life better one person at a time as well. We don't have to do it on a mass group, because making one person happy has a flow-on effect as well.
Absolutely.
So well done to Joanne. Thank you to Ollie. Enjoy your camp, and don't forget The Road to Resilience, of course, is Adam's book. Look out for it, and we'd love to see you back again maybe next year with more great events, more great camps, and more great charity. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brett.
We will take a break on the couch. Coming up after the break, should I say? We're talking bitchin'. Stay with us.
Connect with The Couch online through Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Welcome back to the couch. Please welcome our bitchin' team. There you go, the logo's on. Let me introduce, we've got Nat Foster Nat Foster Warren from the new Classic Breakfast on 1086 IX and 1057 FM and DB Radio, digital radio.
Digital radio is the way to go, or get the app on your phone and actually do it through your phone.
Jen Merrigan, Have a Go News, coming up to their Christmas edition in a couple of months' time. Always a monthly edition. And I saw one of your newspapers just yesterday.
Fantastic.
And I picked one up for free.
Excellent.
So well done. And Chris Ilsley, I always say, from wherever he wants to be.
At any given time, which is perhaps not such a good thing. Mind you, I did see someone had moved some of your papers at a shopping centre, Floreat Forum, the other day, and I put them back where they were supposed
there
to.
you go.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So he's going to give you an invoice.
Yes. Actually,
funny you say that.
People leave Jen's papers alone.
Funny you say that. Ted was actually at the Floreat shopping centre that day. And I said, Ted, what are you doing having a go there? He goes, I'm forgetting things. I thought, yes, I know what you're up to. And he also wants to do Classic Breakfast. He was saying something about...
Was he?
Yes, he was saying it could be the Rob, Ted and Nat show.
Look, do you know what? The studios are that small. There's only room enough for us two. So I'm sorry, unless Ted wants to sit on my lap, it probably isn't going to happen.
He might like that.
Do you know what?
Too good to refuse.
All right, but I'll tell you what an offer is that's too good to refuse. Bitchin'. Let's start with you. Chris, please tell us your story.
Well, apparently Gen Zs won't pick up their phone.
True.
Right? So if you ring a Gen Z, it's a case of ring out, and then they'll send you a message. What do you want? So you send them a message back. Answer your bloody phone. Or I always say AYBP, right? Because they understand acronyms. Answer your bloody
yeah. Oh, okay.
right?
Yes.
So they understand that.
It's true, but they are like that. They rather use social media or phones than talk to you on
But
the phone.
here's the thing, it takes longer to send a message than to ring up and say, hey Jen, hey Nat, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
It's the
absolutely.
social skills, communication skills. I don't
But
like
yeah, but then you have to talk to people.
Isn't
I
it weird?
totally get it. I'm like, if I
like
message
talking to people.
No, if I message
like talking to
people,
people too.
Yep.
message back. Because
Yeah,
if they then
I
ring
agree.
up, I'm like, oh, for goodness
I'm the
sake.
same as you because
I mean, if you're saying you're 5 minutes late, okay, but
Yeah.
if you're trying to negotiate something or work through something,
to be on
it is
face to
much
face.
easier to do it on a telephone call.
Unless you just don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
And here's the
See,
point.
and I'm normally when I'm watching TV, so don't interrupt me. I'm watching the new
but
Dharma show or whatever.
Here's another point. I'm from the generation that say, leave a message and I will get back to you. If my phone rings and it's not convenient,
Yeah.
I won't answer it. What I will do though is listen to the messages and then ring the person back.
Right.
My theory with Gen Zs is most of them, because they sit there, even when they're sitting in a group socialising,
they're always
on
on
their
the phone,
phones,
yeah.
they don't have a capacity to just shoot the breeze like we did.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think we all love the communication tool, the phone. We love the internet. There's a time we know it's a time and place, and it has to suit us. Whereas I think the kids are manipulated by phones. I agree with you.
Respond.
But they'll sit around a table eating pizza, especially our crew, and they'll always be on TokTik and notice how I on purposely
I like
say
that.
it wrong.
But it is
and-
TokTik because we don't know whether the Chinese Secret Service have actually bugged
But
us.
it's their life, it's their world, and I get that. Kids communicate on Facebook and even messages, old-fashioned stuff. They communicate on TokTik. They communicate on the SMS. One person says, I said, what are you doing on the phone? She said, oh, I'm looking at Facebook. And I'm like, oh, okay, anything happening? Oh, yeah, just these videos. So it's their life now, isn't it? It's their world.
I saw down at Fremantle, I couldn't believe it. Bernadette and I were having some fish and chips. And in came this group of young people, and I figure they must have been from Notre Dame University because it's near there, right? And these 4 blokes come in with what I could only describe as 4 of the hottest young females I'd seen since I was about 19.
Oh, I wasn't down there.
Now, they go and sit down.
weren't there.
No, we weren't.
And what? Well, you should have been. Not quite as hot as you, but close. Well, they're sitting there. What are these brothers? They're all getting on the phone. And Bernadette actually stopped me because I was going to go
I
up and
don't
say,
blame
boys.
her.
I was 19 once. When you have 4 girls that look like that sitting opposite you, you give them 100% attention.
What is a hot person these days? I mean, would we be classed as hot?
I think so. Yeah.
Because these
I
days
was
they
never
don't
classed as
describe
hot,
people
friends.
as hot. I reckon I would be hot.
You
are
like
hot. We're all hot.
You might be hot, but I never.
How
I
I'm
was
not
never
jumping
classed
over
as
this
hot.
is beyond me.
I in fact asked a girl out once, and she
Yeah.
looked at me and she said,
She ran for her life.
"Do you want to go out with me?" And it was like this. She said, "You want to go out with me?" And I thought, "Yeah," but it was one of those moments when I realised that it was going to go left. She said, "Oh my God, am I that ugly?"
So what do we do? Can we wrap it up with the Generation Z?
Yeah.
What can we do to change them, or do we just let
Teach them
be
to
themselves?
communicate. They can't speak.
Well-
They cannot shoot the breeze. You ever had a conversation? How are you?
Yeah, but not all of them, Chris.
No,
and back in your day, you did things differently to what I did and Jen did, and now these kids, so you've got to let them be.
I agree.
Really?
Well,
Yeah,
I think-
not being able to communicate with your fellow human being, have a
bundling
one-to-one
them all
conversation.
together. Some of them are okay.
I reckon to finalise this discussion, they probably all listen to Smooth FM. More music, less talk. Let's go to Jen. Have a go,
No,
News.
the
Tell me.
music's too soft. Just
Well,
move
I'm
it
doing a
back.
bit of a serious subject today. I'm talking about Penny Wong's address to the United
About
Nations.
Putin or China.
Well, she's actually called for a shake-up of the Security Council, which I think is a really good
Very good
idea.
idea.
Yes.
Because, and she's arguing that nations like us, Australia, Africa, Latin America and Asia, should have a greater permanent representation on the committee.
Absolutely.
And I think that is absolutely a positive and important step because one of the things that she's saying is that it's stopping smaller countries from their fates being decided by global superpowers. And we're certainly seeing that at the moment with the war in Ukraine. You know,
The Taiwan possible takeover.
yeah, you know, Russia, and there's a definite feel in the world of uncertainty.
In those countries where they've got dictators, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly, and we need to be able to band together and really use the United Nations of what it was formed for, which is to stop wars, not allow countries like Russia to veto things in the Security Council so that they can continue.
But they should be punished. See, I agree with you when you talk about Russia. We should not be allowing them to still hold a seat. They should be suspended.
I think what you've got to be careful of, if you suspend Russia, then you're shutting down just about every diplomatic dialogue available.
That's it.
And yes, but then that makes them more belligerent.
But are we
But do they
condoning?
really, if they were isolated, do they really have the capacity to be that belligerent?
Well, I don't think they have the capacity when they've had to call up 300,000 reservists because
none of whom want to go.
who all left the country.
My argument would be that Russia's going around as if the sanctions don't matter. They're militarising their country, getting people to fight wars
that's
for
just
what reason.
Vladimir being the old KGB.
And the other thing is he's either sick or dying so many times you don't know what's the truth. And he's still invading a country that he says is Russian people, yet he's killing them all. What does this tell his country? What message does it send to his own people? And I think by not shutting down Russia, NATO, I think we're giving him oxygen. And we shouldn't. We should be saying, you did the wrong thing. The same with China. If they want to invade Taiwan, we should shut them down and say, stop using that language. We don't accept
Don't
it.
worry about China. They won't. I don't think they'll
I don't think they
Taiwan.
will because
the reason being, China likes to trade.
Yes.
Who does China trade?
Taiwan.
All through their history,
Everything's made
the
in Taiwan.
Chinese have loved to trade. And it's something that comes naturally to them. They like trading. They're not going to put that at jeopardy. They're not stupid.
There was a huge semiconductor factory. Most of the semiconductors have been made in Taiwan, and they're actually making plans to move those factories to other places. So it'll be interesting so that Taiwan is not such a target and couldn't shut down the whole world, basically.
I tell you what, Penny Wong has she ever been in Australia since she became foreign?
She works harder than...
She's amazing.
I think people have to realise that
being
whether
Prime
you like
Minister,
a
you get to
politician
travel.
or
I like
not,
her.
Politicians actually work very hard. It's not an
I
easy
agree.
job.
She's an amazing worker.
She
She's
is
stuck
a
true to
hard
form.
worker. Julie Bishop was an extremely hard worker. You've got to respect politicians for the fact of how much work they actually have to give and the service that they give, whether you like them or not.
Some politicians,
whether you like them or not, because
you
the
can
job.
not like a person's politics, but acknowledge that the work they're doing and how they're going about doing
Do we
their job is
agree
very
as
diligent.
a collective group that we need to have a shake-up at NATO?
Yes.
It's obviously not working.
Well, the UN definitely.
Well, the problem with the UN Security Council is what we've got is the same setup that we had during the Cold War era.
Correct.
It's got to change.
I wonder if we could set up a new system where we use Harry and Meghan as ambassadors to go to those
They would
countries
love
like
it.
China, Russia, North Korea. They'd be wonderful. Could you imagine Meghan over there?
Oh, she'd be wonderful.
Not long. She wouldn't be there long. Anyway,
All right, look,
good luck to
yours
them.
is all very, very interesting. But
Nat, what have you got for
well,
us?
I've got serious stuff because obviously, these are quite light-hearted. There's a nursing home in Taiwan that is in a bit of trouble at the moment because, they organised some strippers to celebrate the Mid-Autumn Festival. It's also known as the Moon Festival.
Cheaper than Viagra.
This the Moon Festival, because obviously
Maybe
they're
it's
getting their moons out. But a lot of people online have been complaining, saying, hang on, give them some grace and some dignity. Many said the stripper was a bit too enthusiastic and a bit fiery and more caution was needed. But I tell you what, good dexterity, because there's photos, good dexterity exercises for the seniors. As you can see, needing a few things. I don't know how she did that one. Anyway, but I don't know. I just think if you're in a senior's home, why does the fun have to stop? If that's what you want, then why not? And
did they enjoy it?
Oh, by the looks of it, look at this fella. I've never seen somebody smile. I used to give my granddad socks, and he never smiled like that when I gave him socks.
If that bloke had dropped dead 5 minutes after that photo was taken, he would have been a happy man.
Lap dancing on them, so it was just to lift their spirits. I think they lifted something more than just the spirits.
Now, this is strippers that go to old age
strippers, celebrating the Moon
It beats
Festival.
vaccination. You could do it as a trade-off.
Look, this has been the problem with aged care, is that people are put into aged care and they're treated like they're not people anymore.
Well, that's it, and the bad food and stuff. So obviously these people still aren't getting fed anything, but they're getting
Well, that was Ted Bull's concern. If he went into aged care, would he still be be able.
No, well, I
you
said
know,
I'd
keep
put him
up
in
with
one
everything.
with festival, with strippers,
Yes.
and a couple of $5 notes so he could put them in.
Well, there you go.
You know,
It's
I'm
free money.
supporting. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't have to use real money.
Why would
I
anyone
don't
get
think-
upset
I-
about it?
well,
I think,
well,
I
a lot of
think it's
people say
fabulous.
It's
There should
not
be more of this stuff.
dignified, but I'm
But
saying.
you know something?
they look pretty
Can
I
I tell you
reckon.
something?
Here's an idea for next year. I reckon we just all talk over each other.
Sure.
And we make it into a radio program. We record it and maybe call it The Classic Breakfast with Rob and Nat.
Except we
When's
don't
it on?
actually talk over each other.
No, I know. When's it on?
Because we're professional.
When can we catch it?
Monday to Friday, 5:30 in the morning till
10?
10 o'clock in the morning.
And it's breakfast with a bit of a difference, isn't
Well,
it?
because, you know,
It's not
we're
childish.
not kids. It's not... well, it is childish to a degree because
Yes,
I'm
I've
on
listened.
it, obviously. My mum appears on it as well, and even the cat got on it the other day. So,
Really?
lots of variety. Rob is a hilarious guy, very dry sense
I
of
must
humour as
admit,
well.
I did hear you talking about your pussy the other day. I didn't realise you had one.
Yes, Ginger.
Yes, very good.
And I've got 3 dogs.
Mind you, you want to know something? You're talking about cats. 6 p.m. in Perth,
Yep.
3XY in Melbourne, 2SM in Sydney, and
Oh,
4IP in
congratulations,
Brisbane.
you're moving.
In the 70s,
Yeah.
they had a news theme
Yeah.
that most people thought sounded like a cat being strangled. It was actually the best news theme I've ever heard in a radio
Thank
station.
you. Thank you to
We'll
all
work
of
on
you.
that.
Thank you to Have a Go News, of course, being represented by yourself, Jen Merrigan. Have a wonderful break. We'll hopefully catch up at Christmas and look forward to your company again next year, maybe March, now when we come back.
Oh, wow, we've got a big break.
You do have a big
Make
break.
sure you listen to the Classic Breakfast on 6am.
Go to haveagonews.com.au.
Anything you want to plug, Chris?
What are you doing, Chris?
No, I'll just plug having a good time.
More music, less talk.
Safely.
Thank you very much to you at home for watching the show. Thanks to the crew. Hope you enjoyed the program. We'll be back next week for our last show, 7:39. Until then, enjoy your week, Australia. Bye for now. Wave, everybody.